Oh, welcome everyone. This is Amanda Elawesh, and you are joining our Mastery Series, Access Your Inalienable Sovereignty in 2021. And I apologize for the delay. Zoom took me into an alternate reality. I'm so glad I found my way back to you all. I'm super excited to be here with Terra Christoff. Has been in my world and community for I don't know how many years, quite a long time. And it's a great pleasure to have her joining us. For nearly 2 decades, Tara has supported purpose-driven and soulful women coaches, healers, and transformational leaders to grow their income and impact with confidence. She has helped her clients double and triple their email list and income while creating more time off. I love it. Tara holds a doctorate in psychology and is a certified best year yet coach. She's passionate about the sacred feminine, women's circles, and honoring the earth. Oh, she loves daily hikes in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, where she calls home with her beloved partner and sweet pup named Honey. Tara is the creator of the Women on Purpose Academy, the most comprehensive and transformational 4 seasons program for established feminine entrepreneurs ready to go to their next level and fully live their purpose. Woman after my own heart. Welcome, Tara.
So happy to be here with you today, Amanda. I really appreciate what you've created here. It's very special. And I love that we're exploring sovereignty.
Yeah, me too. And glad that we're all in the same dimension. Consensual reality is important.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, Tara, what brought you into the realms of, helping women to um, access their sovereignty through the success in their business and living their purpose?
Yeah, well, I actually feel that business is like an incredible vehicle for really getting clear on who you are, what your destiny is, why you came here, and really like refining that continual process of refining. I feel like the world of business is like a PhD in personal growth and
Oh,
it
yeah.
stretches you in so many ways and kind of reveals the truth and the essence of who you are and why you are here on this planet. So, yeah, my story is actually, I never thought about it from this perspective until this series, but it's a story of me being a little out of sovereignty. And what inspired me to, kind of step into my most recent level of entrepreneurship was I mixed up my business. I really shifted things when I had a major car accident that was a wake up call for me that there are ways that I was out of alignment. And for me, sovereignty has a lot to do with being in my truth, being aligned, being also aligned with my energy blueprint as well. And during this time, I was like hopping on these planes to San Diego. I was doing an intense kind of masculine leadership training. And I was drained. I was a little burned out. And I was coming actually back from, a lot of you know this community called Fem Talks in the San Francisco Bay Area. I was giving a talk on purposeful prosperity. And, that actually went really great. I was feeling like, okay, I'm going to like have some downtime now. And then I got off the freeway in Mill Valley and I saw this car, big truck, like coming towards me really quick. I realized, I was going to be rear-ended. And
Wow.
then and then the 5 cars in front of me and, all of that happens in a car accident. But what I really saw was how I was not honoring my need for downtime, the fact that I'm an introvert. There's a lot of pieces of my business that really needed to shift. And I had a healing with a shamanic healing with a young woman who was part of that community. And like, it was amazing. I felt like better than I had felt before the car accident. I had a lot of whiplash and, just a lot going on with my body, and was told by a healer that she didn't think I was going to fully recover like for a
Wow.
long, long time. And I was like, no way. And so I felt like that experience really connected me to my sovereignty and my truth, and the fact that I needed to bring more of the feminine to my business. And it was a huge wake up call for me to really, really step into what that meant, and to step into a deeper level of sovereignty in my business. And I'm never going back.
Mm. No kidding. It seems like so many, so many successful entrepreneurs and people who inspire me, like they all have some big dramatic experience that happened in their life. I know I've had multiple, and it's like this, it really makes you look at your priorities. It really makes you examine how you've been doing things. And it's an opportunity for a reset. And, it's so great because a lot of times when we go through something really traumatic, sometimes we can cling to old things as kind of like a life preserver, out of fear. And it takes a lot of courage to take that as an opportunity to really re-examine what wasn't working before and how can I rebuild in a way that really serves a higher elevation of what I'm moving into or what I can move into. That's really beautiful. Was there anything in particular that helped you to make that shift, in that time of recovery? Any particular inspiration?
Yeah, well, I connected to the earth, and I felt like that was a lot of the inspiration, because when I connect to the earth, it is a way of connecting to the feminine, of course, Mama Gaia. And I just had a lot of downloads around the changes I need to make. So, like, specifically, one was I needed to have a flex week the last week of every month in my business so I could just
Oh,
be
great.
connecting to my natural rhythms. And the other was that I was gonna really do less, take things off my plate that were not in my zone of genius, and focus more on the feminine art of receiving. And then it was when I followed that, when I followed that nudge from the universe, I wound up the next month having my best business month ever. At that point, I received $50,000 that month, 30,000 in sales, and like 20,000 in unexpected, that I really attribute to slowing down, embracing the feminine. And also, I think for me, sovereignty is a lot about um, letting go of outdated belief structures that we are carrying. And I saw that, patriarchy, the masculine, I mean, I love men, so it's not like I'm anti-men or anything, but I felt like there was definitely a process of unlearning that I needed to go through to really connect more to my center and my truth and my natural rhythms.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been exploring a lot about, well, focusing on feminine wisdom, that's for sure. All of our presenters are female identified, and we've had a lot of all a whole full spectrum of gender showing up for this series, and it's been really inspiring that there are people beyond the feminine that are interested in the feminine wisdom and the feminine path, and and the patriarchal um colonial systems that are falling apart and that we are pushing up against and blossoming outside of,
Mhm.
definitely isn't anti-male, but it is it's the shadow masculine that
Yeah.
we've all been influenced by, and time to create new realities for our health, which Dr. Valencia, who's on today right now, thanks for joining us. She's going to be sharing about that, in our business, in our relationships, and in all ways. It's time for there to be a balance. uh
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm super excited. I've been able to sit in on some of your talks and workshops, and really am inspired by what you're doing. And I know that the Four Seasons really um is at play, and I would love for you to share a little bit about that. And then also your Flex Week is really radical. I have to say, I'm a little like, wow, that is inspiring. And I don't know that people know what you mean by
Yeah.
Flex Week.
So the last week of every month, and if there's extra time, then whatever, if it's like through the 31st, then the following week as well. I don't schedule clients. I don't schedule business meeting. I just really connect to nature. I unplug. I do sometimes do like creative work if I have like I have a book I want to write this year. So I'm going to, probably do some of that during Flex Week, but not in any way that it feels like a should. It's just like a real opportunity for me to connect to my natural rhythms, get outside, and just honor self-care really deeply during that last week of the month. So my clients are aware of it. Yeah, everybody in my life is kind of aware of it. So it's just, it's like my friends are like, hey, it's Flex Week, let's get together. So
Nice.
it's been really awesome in it just really having a ripple effect on all areas of my life in a really positive way.
What, and you say ripple effect. What have you noticed since you've been giving yourself this time away from the business end?
I notice I come back with a lot of energy and inspiration and joy. I mean, I absolutely do love my work, but like I said, I am, an introvert, and I get a lot of energy through things like meditation, being in nature, that sort of thing. So I just noticed that I come back with a sense of rejuvenation and feeling refreshed. And I also think I get nourished I tend to have a lot of like friend dates during that time, which I think I'm all about sisterhood and growing your business through sisterhood, as I'm sure many of you are here. So that's important to me too, just having that time with friends to kind of nourish our relationships. Because when I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, in like full transparency, part of what was hard for me was that I mean, I had friends where it'd be like, let's get together. And it's like, we're looking at our schedules and it was like 2 months away. And I'm just like, you know what? I can't live that way anymore. And now I don't. I'm just like, okay, in a couple of weeks, I have Flex Week. And, I definitely have a life, it's not like I just schedule it all in Flex Week. I really am committed to balance. I'm a total Libra, but it does make a difference to have that unstructured time where you could just listen within, long meditations, all of that.
Beautiful. And I'm, one thing that's coming in for me that when I'm, bringing new clients in, that I share about myself is that I take really good care of myself. And it's important to do that. If you can imagine somebody who's trying to cram in working with as many clients as possible, back to back, no break, not really taking care of themselves, I don't know how they can really show up for you. And this thing came in, and I said it on, it was like one of my private groups. I said, you just cannot fake self-care. You can't fake it.
Mhm.
If you're not doing it, it shows in your presence, in your health, and how the quality of what you're providing, no matter what it is, whether you're a doctor or cleaning houses, or a coach, or whatever it is. Like, it makes a huge difference. And so I want to put out there to people, if you're, if you're interviewing to hire somebody for anything, pay attention to how they care for themselves, and this ebb and flow. Tuning into nature seems really, really important. Uh,
Absolutely.
And so I want to kind of not necessarily just turn the mic over to you, but I know that you have a lot of wisdom to share. I know you fill, day long, weekend long, probably even week long retreats with your wisdom. And I'd just love to have you share some of the insights that you have for us about building your business the feminine way, which includes some of the things that we've touched on already.
Yeah, and you had asked about working with seasons in
Yes.
my business, and I was curious because that is so connected. If is it possible to like share a little diagram?
Yeah, yeah.
So-
I'm gonna make you the co-host,
Okay.
and then I think that you can do that.
Okay. Here we go. Is that working?
Yeah,
Okay. And I'll
there we
just try
go.
to keep this at a higher level. But one thing I'm super excited about, and I want to encourage you as we go through this, this is kind of a seasonal way that I work with business, and I encourage you to consider as I go through this, like, what season am I in my business? And I'll also say it's broader than that. You know, you could definitely, extrapolate this to your life as well, but I use it primarily for business. And I'm just going to start right here at the bottom left, winter, which is the season we are in right now. And winter, I associate with the element of water. In your cycle, it's days 1 through 6, it's the dark moon. But what I really associate it with is replenishment, slowing down, going inward, revitalizing your energy through self-care, journaling. I mean, when we look to the natural world, we see that animals are like slumbering, in the winter time, they are hibernating. And energetically, this is, something that humans do during this time. So I really encourage people to not necessarily start with the energy of spring when you're planning your year, but to get into winter and allow yourself to really connect to your vision. The shadow expression of winter is when you don't really feel your feelings or carve out time for rest or self-care, and you start to feel stuck, lacking in inspiration and creative energy. So, and you can be in different seasons of your business. But for if, winter right now is happening, so you may be feeling more of this pull. And if you are, take a look at what do you want to release and how can you carve out more time and space for self-care as well as your emotional process. So that's winter. And then at a high level, we'll just look at spring. And that's really about developing creative ideas and new products, programs, and offerings. The shadow expression with spring is when we're kind of endlessly generating new ideas, but not really taking action on them. So the inquiry I would invite you into is like, what are the new seeds you're ready to plant in your business and why are they important? And where am I generating a lot of ideas, but not taking action? And each one also has like archetypes that are associated. So for this one, it's like Bridget, Ostara, like really that spring energy. And then once you have your focus, you can move into summer, which is all about visibility. So right now, Amanda is in summer. She has this series that she has created and is promoting. So this is really the season of being visible, sharing your offerings, your talents, and your gifts, growing your business, reaching out to people to partner with, like Amanda did here, stepping into your leadership and your impact. And the shadow side is burnout, overworking, not setting up enough systems of support. And I produce summits too. That's how I've grown my business. So I know it takes a lot. Like this is kind of a mini version, like a version of a summit. It's a little bit different, but same kind of concept. So yeah, I know that whenever you're creating something like this and being this visible, because women I know have a lot of can sometimes have a lot of visibility fears. I certainly have in my life. So summer is about that energy of you being visible and magnetic. So if you are feeling a resonance with summer, I invite you to really look at where are you ready for more visibility in your business? And what would your business be like if you were willing to step into that next level of leadership? And then we have fall, which is all about the energy of harvest. I said I'm a Libra, so I love that fall energy. And it's really connected to the earth element. And when we kind of successfully go through, I don't know, it's not success, because it's like there's a process, there's a dance that's happening in every season. But fall is really that energy of systems, of support, of receiving, of completion energy. And the transformative potential is that you really have these systems in your life, like Flex Week, or like a nice onboarding system for your clients, these financial systems. And these really help you feel a sense of ease and spaciousness and flow in your business. And the shadow expression of that is kind of being disorganized or not, living up to your fullest potential and flailing if you don't have the systems in place that you need to have to really grow your business. And yeah, the archetypes here are like Pachamama, Lakshmi, Selu, who's a Cherokee goddess I learned about. It's just a really beautiful phase of really looking at how can you up level, the systems of support and follow up in your business. So this is just one way of kind of a seasonal approach to business. And I encourage it in other areas as well, like really looking at how to embrace a seasonal approach. Like, for example, I do seasonal planning every 3 months. I kind of have a big level plan. I actually have a
Mhm.
best business year workshop, but let me get out of this. How do I do this? Here we go. Stop share.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm a big fan of seasonal planning in your business as well. So
Beautiful.
that was fun to
I have
share.
a couple questions for you
Yeah,
about that
I
that
love it.
popped in. The first one is, if somebody's already got their kind of flow in their business and they're really inspired to switch over into this, that seems like how do they, how does that transition work? Do you have any advice for how to shift from whatever somebody may already be doing into this seasonal practice?
Well, I think on some level we're doing this all the time. It's just we may not be conscious of it. It might just be like, oh, I want to take my business in a different direction now, and I'm having these new ideas, fresh ideas pour in, and then that's really just the energy of spring. And the beauty is, if somebody is doing that in the way that you described, it's like they may have spent some time in autumn and kind of refining their systems, so it doesn't have to be like this. Huge thing that they're doing in their business. It's like they're kind of carrying that energy of like, okay, spring, I want to focus on this new development, being some kind of visibility project with that, like a summit or who knows what they want to do. It's something usually to grow your community and share your message with your people. And then, you could use a lot of the systems that you've used in the past if they're working towards this new endeavor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And so you're not really recommending that people try to do their planning only in their visioning only in winter and like it's just a
Yeah, it's not
metaphor,
that
right?
literal.
Yeah.
It's not that literal, but I do think there is some real juicy energy in the winter where it's more about that hibernation and going inward that does lend itself to some pretty deep visioning. So yeah, I have a best
Absolutely.
business year yet during that time because that energy is there. So I think it's like let's harness that. And then we also have personal biorhythms as
Yes.
well. Like some people tend to naturally spend more time in one season or another, and that can have its gifts and it can have its challenges as well. So it's just more something to be aware
Mhm.
of.
I can totally relate. There was a period of time, it has shifted now. But there was this period of time where I always knew that I was just going to make a lot of money in fall. It was like, it's harvest season, it's just harvest time. And that's just what it is for me. And so, summer would get kind of quiet and, in the first year or two, I worried. And then I was like, oh no, this is just how it works. you know, it's just,
Yeah.
it's just quiet and people are out playing. And then, harvest season is going to come. That's beautiful.
Totally.
And then the other piece that came in, as you were describing like all these different elements of building our business, and there are so many, like you could be like one of those people that is in eternal spring, like a lots of ideas, generating a lot of ideas. And then you talked about, but if you're not taking action, then that's going to be a problem. And yesterday we were talking with Maggie Ostar about human design.
Mhm.
My partner does strength finders,
Oh, I
and
love them both.
to
Yeah.
to really tune in and recognize, as we're stepping away from, even though we're stepping into sovereignty and acknowledging how amazing women are, but how we all are, we can't do everything, and we can't expect ourselves to be incredible at all the different elements. And
Mhm.
so I just wanted you to speak, if that resonates with you, to find, the areas where you're struggling instead of beating up on yourself, to find, who can move you into action. How, I just did that myself. Like I'm great at, you called me out, and unwittingly, like I'm great at generating ideas. And then sometimes like, but I'm not exactly sure the best way to put it into action, and I need help with that. So I hired a coach to help me with that. And I'm curious how that works for you and your in your work?
Yeah, well, I'm a really big fan of staying as much as possible in your zone of genius and, delegating things that are not that. Like I did strengths finders recently, and in my top 5, it's all relational and strategic. I have no execution
Too.
strengths, so it's like it was so relieving, and I was part of a community with, yeah, Rachel Rogers, where she's like, "Yeah, I have no." Her platform is "We should all be millionaires," and she's like, "I have no top 5 execution strengths." She's like, "I have very little, execution is
Mm,
not at all my zone of genius," and that somehow that gave me permission. I'm like, "Well, she's a millionaire. She had like $1 million, like she had a launch where she actually generated $1 million in a month," which I'm like, "Wow,
wow.
that's powerful." And she has no execution strengths, and I could just feel myself relax, and I started like upping my assistance hours, because I'm like, you know what, I shouldn't be doing execution. It is not in my wheelhouse. But like empathizing with people, supporting them with business strategy, that's fun, and that's like a natural strength for me. So I really encourage you to never, if there are things that are just not in your wheelhouse, drop them, because we have these gifts. And I feel like that's part of our sovereignty, is really saying yes to owning the brilliance that we have, and also realizing we don't have to be all things to all people. We don't have to be good in
Goodness.
every area, and that's totally okay. And I'm a big fan of human design as well, and just really working with, that system as well can be really powerful. I won't get into that. Maggie covered it, but it's a super
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah.
system.
Yeah. It seems real like this is a good message for me to remind myself, instead of really struggling with certain things, just or wherever it is, whether it's in your business or in your whatever your life passion is, your purpose work is, if you're finding that there's an area that feels like, I don't like this part, or it's a lot of struggle or just a lot of effort, and that it's not life-giving, to either hire somebody or look at collaborating, right?
Mhm.
If you don't have the money to hire somebody to do the things, look at, still weaving in the strengths of the community by like, how can I collaborate and, connect with the people who maybe have a shared vision, a shared purpose, who can complement, so that we're not trying to carry the world on our shoulders, seems really important.
Absolutely. I'm not a fan of lone wolfing it at all. Like this is,
I
as you
used
said
to
in
be, but
the
no
description of
more.
this event. Yeah, it's time for us to really come together and honor each other's strengths and realize we don't need to be super women and do it all. And
Mhm.
that's okay.
Mhm. I love it. Well, are there any other pearls of wisdom that you have for us today?
Let me see what wants to come
I mean, you already
through.
shared quite a bit that feels really, really rich, and it's a lot to take away and integrate. But I know you've got a lot. So, and I know you're intuitive. So, yes, feel free to drop in for a moment. See if there's anything more that wants to be shared with our audience today.
Yeah, just the piece around really building a feminine business, because it has been so my experience through this program I have called Women on Purpose, that when women stand, in celebration with each other, when we hold each other high, when we realize we can partner with people who might be, have strengths that we don't have, like magic and miracles happen. So
Mm.
I think the most important thing I want to say is like, don't don't try to do any of this alone. Like just realize, probably from this series you've seen all kinds of support coming in, and just to really honor your intuition around what it is you need, and to really stay steeped in self-care. I do think that that really needs to be the foundation, as we talked about in the beginning, of having a healthy business and really continually being in a relationship with your higher wisdom. Because I had something come in last month. I was in a big launch for my Women on Purpose program, and I heard take Wednesday afternoons off. And I was like, really? But I started taking Wednesday afternoons off. And it's so incredible. Like I come back on Thursday today, like super replenished. So I just feel like it's so important, just like, we have our goddess self, to bring the goddess self to our business. I realized when I had that car accident that I was keeping them a little separate. I had like this
Mhm.
priestess path I was
Yeah.
walking for sure, 13 moons. I think we both did that training. But yeah, it needed to be integrated. And I think sovereignty is really about integrating our deepest wisdom and truths into our life, into our relationships, and into our business for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah, it feels like kind of one of my big takeaways from our conversation is how radical and important it is to shed the projected, paradigm of, you got to be producing and, always creating and always, like that ebb and flow, right? The restfulness, the regeneration, it superpowers us, and it allows what when we are active to be more present, to have more juice to feed into all that we're doing, and to just recognize when you're really in a restful place, you're doing something very, very important. And in a way, it's a radical, it's a radical um, paradigm shift to do that and to allow that for ourselves. And I kind of want to be a fly on the wall to those who are taking this away, who are chronic overdoers, overachievers, and willing to take the challenge to dial it back a bit and see what happens, see what positive things can happen. Because, like with the earth, if you if you're always trying to get as much out of your crops, and you don't like let them go fallow, and let the soil regenerate, the nutrition isn't there and the crops suffer. And so just see how that happens in your own life, the benefits that can come from that.
Absolutely. There's so much abundance in nature. So we only need to look at the natural world. And I will say, every time I stepped up my self care, my income has actually stepped up as well, which I didn't expect that
Yeah.
to happen. My most recent launch was I generated over 100,000 in sales in 6 weeks, and that was with the addition of like the Wednesday off type
Mm,
thing.
that's
So I
amazing.
think it's important to kind of reprogram our psyche a bit, that it doesn't need to be like working hard equals goal.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's relaxing more, receiving more, having support people who can do the execution stuff that's not your wheelhouse, or whatever your
Mm,
version of that is. Like
yeah.
give that to yourself.
Yeah, I'll say the same, same happened for me in my business. I just was having really intense moon cycles actually, and it's just like I needed to rest, and I gave myself almost like a whole month of really being restful. I don't remember specifically what was happening. I was just going through a lot of fatigue. And I
Mm.
just thought, instead of trying to jack myself up with caffeine and whatever to keep myself going, I'm just going to listen to my body. And I had one of my biggest months
Beautiful.
ever as well. So, I'll bear my testimony that it works. And I know there are people that have shared. One person was sharing that they want to learn more about that seasonality approach. Um, and
Yeah.
I know that you have a free gift for everyone, so I'm going to put it in the chat here for you, all who are here on the Zoom, and we'll add it in later on the Facebook live stream in the comments. Oh,
Yeah.
you've got it up there.
I
The
think,
Four Seasons PDF. Awesome. And
yeah,
how can
I would
people stay
totally
connected?
recommend the journal. Yeah. So the way that we could stay connected, and I would love to stay connected with you all, is through a really fun quiz that is about how to grow your business based on kind of where you're at in this moment. And you'll receive some customized recommendations that will really support you to step into your purpose and grow your business. And so the link to the quiz is there and it's super fun. And I would totally recommend that. And then I also just shared the PDF because I think the journaling questions might be really supportive to kind of go a little bit deeper with them based on what season you are in this moment. So there's that PDF as well.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, Tara, I am always excited to see what you're coming up with. It's always inspiring. And I really appreciate you taking time to come and share your wisdom with all of our guests here today. And hopefully you'll be back. I actually realized I want to keep this going. I'm not gonna do it, all day, every day, but I think I'm gonna keep this going. And I'd love to have you back again to revisit.
I
And
would love that.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yay. Beautiful.
you've
Beau-
gathered an amazing team, and Valencia's next. You are
That's right.
also in for a treat. Valencia is
Mhm,
amazing. So
mhm.
enjoy the rest of the series, and thank you so much,
Thank you.
Amanda, for creating it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And thank you all for showing up. It's so nice to see your faces and to know that there are people here connecting with us live, getting the live downloads. And yeah, we'll be back at 12 p.m. Pacific with Dr. Valencia Ray, and she'll be sharing about our sovereign health, body, mind, and spirit. I can't wait for that. All right, Tara, again, thank you so much. Lots of love to
Thank
you
you
all.
so much.
We'll
Much
see you
love,
again soon.
everyone.